Saquon Barkley has 1,137 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, and is averaging 5.8 yards per carry, which is a career high. I strongly believe he can do something that no other position player outside of quarterback has done since 2012. I'll give you what that is and my reason on why he's about to make history. Next on the Eagles Stock Watch. Let's get it. What's going on, everyone? My name is Brian Cameron, and I'm your host for the Eagles Stock Watch. Today, we will be looking at who's rising and falling after the Eagles' impressive 28-18 win over the Washington Commanders. First up, let's look at who's trending up. Here are my 3 players that are trending in the right direction heading into Week 12. We have Saquon Barkley, Kenny Gainwell, and Quinyon Mitchell. Before we talk about Saquon Barkley, let's talk about Kenny Gainwell, who I gave flack last week because of his pass blocking. Kenny Gainwell came into this game, jump-started the offense with back-to-back runs for 13 yards and 14 yards, which led to the Eagles' first touchdown score. But Kenny was efficient with the ball in his hands. He had 4 attempts for 43 rushing yards, which is about 10.8 yards per carry, and was doing things that we expected a backup running back to do. It's great to see him finally coming into his own again, and hopefully at the right time. Let's talk about Quinyon Mitchell now. He completely locked down Terry McLaurin to 0 catches on 0 targets, and that was 20 snaps against him as well. Currently, PFF has him ranked first amongst NFC quarterbacks with 25% forced incompletion rate, which is phenomenal for a rookie. It's not often that you see an Eagles rookie cornerback become possibly one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the league in just his rookie season. He's scaring away veteran quarterbacks. He's scaring away rookie quarterbacks. If we look at his track record for the season, Drake London, 1 catch, 5 yards. Chris Olave, 2 catches, 23 yards. Mike Evans, 2 catches, 19 yards. Amari Cooper, 1 catch, 10 yards. Malik Neighbors, 1 catch, 9 yards. Jamar Chase, 2 catches, 19 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 1 catch, 5 yards. And now Terry McLaurin, 0 catches. Quinyon Mitchell is the prototypical cornerback that you want on a defense. He's the guy that can live on his own island and keep up with the best of them. You saw in the clips where he was chasing down Terry McLaurin. He was going stride for stride with Terry McLaurin. And every move that Terry made, Quinyon was matching. He was just duplicating it. And it was phenomenal to see that, especially when you have a defense where Quinyon's on one side and you have a veteran cornerback on the other side who's also a shutdown cornerback in Darius Slay. So to see the progress, the early results out of Quinyon Mitchell just means this rookie has such a high ceiling. It's going to be phenomenal to see for years to come. Now let's talk about Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, I'm declaring it right now, deserves to be in the conversation for MVP. I'm even going as far as saying that he can actually win it. The Eagles would not be 8-2 without him. He carried the offense with 2 touchdowns and 198 total yards, with 146 of them being rushing yards. The Eagles scored 20 unanswered points in the 4th quarter, and Barkley was the main reason why. There's no other player like Barkley that we've seen come to Philadelphia and dominate as a running back since LaShawn McCoy. I personally believe that Saquon should be in the conversation, running neck to neck with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. I understand Lamar's doing remarkable things this season, even against his own track record. But what Saquon Barkley is doing at the moment is a sight for sore eyes, not only for Eagles fans, right, but for the running back position as a whole. We've seen Christian McCaffrey do it for years after year, but he's been very injury prone. Saquon Barkley was a bit injury prone in New York, has come to a better place with an offensive line and showing just how remarkable he actually is. We didn't get to see this level of Saquon in New York, and to see it now later in his career in Philadelphia, the Eagles would not be in the position that they are without him. He has 3 games with 100+ yards and 2 touchdowns this season. He's currently on pace to break the Eagles season record for rushing yards with 1607, which was set by LaShawn McCoy back in 2013. Saquon Barkley, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, is currently at 1,137 with 7 games left in the season. He's averaging 113.7 rushing yards per game, which means if he continues on this pace, he's going to surpass 1,932 rushing yards by the end of the season. And can we just gush over the fact that he's averaging nearly 6 yards per carry? Like, that's phenomenal for anybody at this point in the NFL. I mean, Saquon Barkley is doing this season with the Eagles is extremely impressive. He's had 26 runs of 10+ yards. I think he has the most 20+ yard runs in the season as well this season. And again, like I said, the Eagles are not 8-2 without Saquon Barkley on their side. With that being said, unfortunately, we do have to look at who's trending down heading into Week 12, and this is not my favorite part of the show. This is not a player that I want to be down on, or even a coach I want to be down on, but we have to acknowledge that there is a bit of a concern right now, and that's with these 2 guys. Jaylen Herz and Kellen Moore heading into week 12. I do have them trending down, and I'm going to explain the reasons as to why right now. Let's talk about Jaylen Herz. The slow starts, the holding on to the ball too long, the need to make better decisions, it's on full display this season. And while he isn't making plays to cost the game for the team anymore, he's been really good with, limiting turnovers. I feel like he's still not comfortable enough in this offense to be who he is. We see at times where, they draw up the QB draws and he flourishes, and it's great to see that. But when he's in the pocket, he's missing the quick reads. You're seeing guys that are open on a slant. You're seeing guys that are open a curl route. It's not fully coming together for Jaylen Herz at the very moment. And I don't put 100% of the blame on him, right? There's coaches that need to take accountability for the blame. They need to take accountability for his sluggish start. But even so, even though he's struggling, I still believe Jaylen Herz is still a top 5 quarterback in this league. And I think he's actually number 3 in my opinion. If the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl, if the Eagles are going to win a playoff game, it cannot come off the back of Saquon Barkley. He cannot be the guy that just runs the entire offense. It can't be a thing. It's not sustainable. They need to have A.J. Brown in a rhythm. They need to have Devontae Smith in a rhythm. They need to have Dallas Goedert in a rhythm. These are 3 guys, 3 playmakers that when the ball is in their hand, they could break off big plays. Like, they're great when it comes to yards after catch. Although Dallas wasn't very safe with the ball in his hands, big up to Grant Calcaterra for that fumble recovery, I still would rely on him. And it just feels like the offense is not doing Jaylen Herz a favor, while Jaylen Herz is also not doing the offense a favor. And because of that, you're seeing things break down. You're seeing a lot more pressures. I think he's the 4th most pressured quarterback on dropbacks at the moment. And you're seeing him hold on to the ball way too long, where he has to hurry. He has to move out of the pocket as soon as possible when he smells a defensive lineman come to his territory. And that can't be the case. We need Jaylen Herz to be confident. You need Jaylen Herz to stand tall in the pocket and deliver on these throws. I'm short of downs. You do have 4 downs for a reason. I mean, we spoke about it on the Flipping the Birds podcast, where in the initial drive of their first drive of the game, you should go Saquon Barkley with a run or 2. You should also go with a short pass and allow Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown to gain that extra yardage, to get them in a rhythm. You got to put this offense in a position to succeed, which is why my next guy is also trending down at the moment. Kellen Moore, to me, I'm not going to say is on a hot seat, right? But all eyes are on you, because for the better part of the first half of the season, everybody blamed Nick Sirianni. While Dan Campbell is doing everything that Nick Sirianni is doing, Nick Sirianni has been on the excruciating hot seat. And we need Kellen Moore to step into the spotlight and actually take a little accountability. This offense benefits greatly off certain kind of styles of play. We see when Saquon Barkley is in open space on a run, he can break off 10 yards, 15 yards, 40 yards easily. We see that when A.J. Brown is throwing the ball on a slant route, he can break off another 20 yards. Devontae Smith, another 20 yards. Dallas Goedert as well. Like, this is all very possible if you dumb down the offense, for not only for Jaylen, but for yourself as well. I think the Eagles need to kind of go back to the basics a little bit and just slow down. Like, just take it easy. Take it step by step, down by down, baby steps. This is a very, very high potent offense. The potential of this offense should put fear in every single defensive coordinator in the league. And once they get going, it will. So at the moment, while I do have Jaylen Herz trending down, I do have Kellen Moore trending down, it's only because they're still not there. They're still not meshing well. And once they get together, and once things start to mesh well, and you sprinkle in a little Saquon Barkley, you sprinkle a little dab of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, top it off with a little Dallas Goedert, even Jahan Dotson. Like, you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room to make this offense go. You just got to be humble enough, put your ego to the side and say, hey, let's back up a little bit. Let's try this a little bit. Let's lean on the run game a little bit more. And let's open up the passing game with play action. Let's open up the passing game with some slant routes. Hey, Jaylen, I want the first read to be AJ. I want the first read to be Devontae. If you see them open, just let it rip. Just let the ball go. If it ends up in their hands, great. There's like a 90% chance that the ball will end up in their hands if Jaylen actually commits to that first read. And we're not seeing that this season. I do strongly believe that this is a Super Bowl caliber team. But the only way that they will get there is if their quarterback, their offensive coordinator, I'll throw in Nick Sirianni in there just to please all the critics out there. If they all get on the same page, I don't think there's any defense in the league that could stop this offense. And hell, If you go into LA on Sunday Night Football and this offense out of nowhere just comes to life after this little mini bye, you're taking that momentum into the Baltimore Ravens game, where it's like, hey, this is a possible Super Bowl matchup. They've beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat. I'm not going to discredit them. The NFL gives out the schedule to the teams. Their job is to beat those players that are on the schedule, and the Eagles have been doing that. You're doing your job, but now you have to excel at your jobs. You got to do a little bit more. You got to give a little bit more. You got to take more as well. And they have the ability to do so. But I'm going to say this very clearly. You have the best offense in the league on paper. You should be winning more than that. So with that being said, Jaylen Herz, even though he struggled, the offense still succeeded. Outside of that, I do thank you guys for tuning into this week's Eagles Stock Watch. I will definitely have another one after the Rams game. But until then, I'm Brian Cameron, and this is the Eagles Stock Watch. Go Birds.